I really, really, really like this quote. Hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create hard times. And I think you can tell by the 4 different seasons that are kind of outlined by that quote where exactly we find ourselves at the moment. I would say we're probably somewhere between weak men creating hard times and hard times creating strong men. Or at least maybe I'm just hoping more of myself on the back end of that statement by saying that there are some strong men being built up out there, and hopefully one day this message reaches some of those aspiring strong men because, well, we're going to need them more so than ever, because right now we're coming to the close of 2021 and things are looking tough. Things are looking real tough, and we're going to need some good, strong soldiers out there. Not anybody who literally goes to war, but the ones who shore up their own defenses, sharpen their own intellectual weapons and go into battle that way, because that's the type of war that I think needs to be waged going forward. So, hard times create strong men. Or just hard times, strong men. I'm just adding a little bit, doing a little bit of editorializing, I guess. Difficult times provide unique opportunities to embrace virtues such as integrity, forbearance, and faith. All right, a certain quote has been making the rounds on social media in the past year. I've heard a little bit earlier than that, and I don't really go on social media that often outside of YouTube, obviously. And do you want to classify that as social media? I don't, mostly just for my own edification. Its pervasiveness is an indication of its relevance. Of unknown origin, the quote reads, hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. Yeah, where's the lie in that? It seems to be fairly accurate. It's an accurate description of the cycle of prosperity and regression in society, one that has held true throughout the ages. It was echoed by Cyrus the Great when he conquered the rich and abundant soil of Persian rulers. Instead of occupying the fertile ground of his conquered foe, Cyrus opted to remain in the mountainous terrain of his home, saying, soft lands breed soft men. Okay, wondrous fruits of the earth and valiant warriors grow not from the same soil. Ooh, kind of like iron sharpens iron, which is not necessarily factually true, but at least metaphorically it has a decent ring to it. 21st century has been largely one of enjoying the fruits of its forebears. There is no better time to be alive, but unfortunately, in that previously mentioned cycle, I think you know where we've kind of all ended up, and I'm not blaming any previous generations for making it too easy on people, but you know what? A lot of people are just soft. A lot of people are soft, and they've never experienced any sort of hardship. And when some pushback does arise, they fold quicker than a cheap suit. Many of us have relatives who have lived through hard times. Yes, they save every dollar, scrape every morsel from their plates, and admonish us for any waste. We find their behavior odd, even comical at times, but they know better than us that prosperity doesn't last. When hardship does arrive, they'll be prepared, while the wasteful will be left wanting, accustomed to austerity. Yeah. In the light of present circumstances, it would be wise to remember the inevitability of discomfort and adopt, out of choice, a habit of fortitude and self-discipline before it becomes a necessity. Grit, tenacity, and endurance are skills that can be learned and honed through a purposeful practice. They allow us to thrive with little material means at our disposal. All right. We may well be coming to an end of a prolonged period of good times. Sure seems that way, at least in the Western world. Can't really speak about anywhere else, nor would I ever think of it. This isn't pessimistic or defeatist. Quite the contrary. Through this challenge, we can forge ourselves into a worthy inheritors of our ancestors. But turning the tide towards liberty and prosperity requires a fortitude that has been dormant in this generation. Largely a passive population is seemingly obvious to an authoritarian controls adopted by traditionally democratic countries. It is up to the strong to reaffirm our humanity by living authentically and truthfully. This is the first and most important step in society regaining its bearings. It is a primary attribute to the strong men and the foremost revolutionary act. Alexander Solzhenitsyn, Soviet concentration camp survivor, writer of the Gulag Archipelago, which I just mentioned right there, but anyways, championed the role of individual in resisting authoritarianism. Hold fast to this quote. You can resolve to live your life with integrity. Let your credo be this: let the lie come into the world, let it even triumph, but not through me. And control what other people do. All you can do is control the information that comes into you, and what you do with it is the only thing that is within your purview. He has it more succinctly, obviously, because Gulag Archipelago is one of the greatest works ever published. So, 20th century is rife with examples of authoritarian control and tyrannical actors on a world stage. Their tendencies are in the human DNA, ready to bubble to the surface unless they are kept at bay by clear-minded and courageous. And you might not think that you have the capacity to commit such tyrannical atrocities, but just think about it for a minute. How far you can be pushed, how far you can be nudged, because it's not tomorrow you'll be firing up the gas chambers. Of course not. But little by little, you could find the capacity. Do a little thought experiment. See if you could commit some horrific atrocities that were carried out in the 20th century. If you're being honest with yourself, you might find yourself in a little bit of a uncomfortable inner dialogue. Solzhenitsyn reminds us the simple step of a courageous individual is not to take part in the lie. In the end, integrity, forbearance, and faith are the attributes of a worthy existence on this earth. These virtues don't manifest readily in times of ease, and we should be grateful for the opportunity to embody them. Jordan Peterson, that's where I heard of Alexander Solzhenitsyn, most likely many other people out there. Great admirer of Solzhenitsyn, has been imploring this generation to find his strength and tilt the scales in favor of retaining our hard-earned freedom. His book, 12 Rules for Life, and the follow-up, 12 More Rules for Life, contain many passages relevant to the internal and external battles of our age. Indeed, and I couldn't even fathom the world, or at least my own little stake in it, without the ascendance of Jordan Peterson. He's been a great boon on the world, and it extrapolates far out from just his simple additions to it, but also opening the door for other great works and other great authors out there like Solzhenitsyn. Ordinary People, which I've read and referenced before, never would have came within my purview, and that's why I know that while I'm not lining up to commit any fundamental human atrocities, I know the capacity. I could figure it out. I could get there. Not saying that I would, and not saying that anybody else would, and it's not something that I'm necessarily comfortable with, but it's something that I recognize is a possibility, unfortunate as it is. He writes, to stand up straight with your shoulders back is to accept the terrible responsibility of life with eyes wide open. It means deciding to voluntarily transform the chaos of potential into the realities of habitable order. Bucko. And that is for 1000% true. So yeah, I talk about it both on here and then on the main channel. It's going to get tougher. I think 2022 is not going to be an easy time, but to be fair, we've had a lot of easy times, so it's time to figure out that there are hard times ahead, but it's going to reveal that there are a ton of strong men and strong women out there. Come on, I'm not forgetting my gals out there. We're going to need some tough folks out there, so hopefully you guys are up for the challenge. With that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.